Everybody, welcome back to Call of War and another quick tutorial on how to work with the game. Today we're going to be talking about building and research. So by building I mean building new units and buildings in cities and provinces and stuff, and research I mean researching. So we're going to be doing some economics, diplomacy, and morale stuff next time. So yeah, we'll get to there when we get there. But first of all, let's do what we're talking about today. Let's start with building buildings, because that sounds cool. So basically, there's quite a few different kinds of buildings. Two main categories. You have your military ones, which are going to produce new units, and your economic ones, which are going to increase your production of manpower and other resources in provinces. So this is a 1.5 setup. So basically, there's going to be a few extra buildings. It's going to be set up a little different. The classic game mode is a little bit different, but it's close enough to where I can keep it all in one video. So let's go up to a province where, here you go, Venice. Here we can see that they will be producing 1,200 goods per day, 121 something men per day, and 728 monies per day. Let's say I want to increase that. I can hit construction here, and the morale is a little bit low right now, as you can see. We'll get more into morale in the next tutorial. But if we want to increase our goods production, we can do local industry. If we hit information here, you can see it will increase our resource production by 35%. And once we get up to level 3, 200%. So this is definitely something that you'll want to do. And goods can run out faster. You can have a complete abundance of them. There's no real way to know when you start a game, so I definitely recommend building industry in those areas. If you have high command, you can set other things to build, which I'm going to do. Propaganda office, very useful for newly captured provinces, such as what I'm about to capture in Greece. That's definitely something you'll want to invest in. What it will do is it will increase your morale quicker, thus meaning that your production times will go down quicker, and overall making your province a lot better. It also decreases the chance of rebellions. Recruiting stations, pretty self-explanatory with these two. They recruit new people. So that this number here, the 121 men per day, that will increase if we get a recruiting station by 35%, and then going up to 200%. Same with the local industry. So down here we're now getting more into the military stuff. Airstrip accommodates planes and rockets. Pretty simple. We sort of looked into that in the last video. Fortifications. If you don't have a unit manning the fortifications, they're pretty much useless, because what fortifications do is decreases the damage that they take. On level 1 fortifications really don't do a whole lot, from my experience. Infrastructure is going to increase your resource production a little bit. No, that's just with the standard one. It increases your resource production, but here it increases your land speed unit, which I don't really see as super useful unless you have one big province, like in the Soviet Union on the full world maps. It's definitely useful out there. And I have turned the music off in case you can't tell. So, with the new versions, as 1.5 being the new standard, you cannot build units in random provinces that aren't major cities. So you're going to have to do one of your main 5 cities, which for Italy would be Naples, Rome, Genoa, Turin, and Milan. Let's see, where am I not producing anything right now? I am producing something everywhere. You can also do it in your non-core provinces in your colonies, such as in Tripoli, which I'm going to use for explanation. So when it comes to building buildings here, you can build pretty much any of these. It doesn't take very long to do. Naval bases, of course, have to be next to the sea, but anything else you can build anywhere. Barracks produce infantry, ordnance foundries produce artillery, anti-air, anti-tank guns, things of that nature. Tank plants produce tanks. and aircraft factories produce aircraft, naval bases produce ships, and secret labs produce secret stuff. And you have all of those other things here that we talked about previously, as well as bunkers, infrastructure, and you can build a capital in one of these cities as well. Alright, so let's get into building units. So for infantry, as I said, you'll need barracks, which we have here in Tripoli. So that means I can produce anything here that I have researched. I do not have mechanized infantry research, which means I can't build that. One major downside of infantry is that it's going to use a lot of food to produce and a lot of food to upkeep. So if you're low on food, I'd recommend using armor, although that will consume food as well. So I would like to produce infantry level 3, just hit produce, and I could queue it, but I don't have the resources to do that really, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And that can only be done if you have high command, which I do. One major difference in production between the 1.5 and the classic version is artillery, anti-air, and anti-tank. Those are now produced in the ordnance foundries. Let me find a city where I have one of those. Here we go. I'm almost done building here. So, an ordnance factory, this is everything that it can produce. Anti-tank, artillery, self-propelled artillery, anti-air, self-propelled anti-air. Normally these would fill into infantry production categories and tank production categories in the normal version, but now, of course, they're in the ordnance foundries. These, they'll produce, takes a little bit of time to do. And one thing that is you're going to notice with the 1.5 over the classical, the more you upgrade your units, the longer it's going to take. So if you plan on upgrading your units a lot, I would recommend upgrading the factories and barracks and stuff as well, because you'll notice in a level 1 infantry, let's see if I have a level 1 barracks anywhere. I don't think I do, but in a level 1 barracks, the infantry that we started in Tripoli would take a lot longer, about twice as long as compared to the level 2. So let's produce some ordnance here. I don't have any food, so I can't do that right now. And I haven't researched the self-propelled artillery yet. Okay. So for tanks, you're going to be needing a tank plant. You can build armored cars, light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, and tank destroyers there. Fairly simple. And yeah. And same with aircraft factories. If you wanted to see how to use aircraft, check out my other tutorial that I made for Call of War so far. And naval ships, pretty self-explanatory as well. So let's get into research. So just click on the research tab up here, and it'll bring up a grid organizer thingy, sort of like this. So this little green line here, everything behind that you have the ability to produce, because it's the correct day and everything, and your country is developed enough to be able to produce that. So as you can see, I'm currently researching the medium tank, level 1, and the motorized infantry, level 2. So there's two main types of research that you can do. You can research completely new units, or you can research upgrades to current units. And so if I wanted to research something new, what's something new I can research? If I wanted to research rocket artillery, I would have to go here, hit the first one, and it would go. But I have research. All my research slots are full, so I can't do that. And if I wanted to upgrade something, let's say I wanted to upgrade my artillery, I can do that by clicking this. And with the 1.5 setup, if once you upgrade something via research, you're going to have to upgrade the particular units. After that, it'll automatically produce that upgraded unit. But your existing ones will not automatically upgrade like they do in the classical. Let's see. Oh, light tank produced. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. And yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. And next time we will get into our economics, diplomacy, and morale. So yeah, see you then.